Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew, and there was a lot of great shows that were on in Nickelodeon around 2004. We have shows like, obviously, SpongeBob was a big one, Jimmy Neutron, there was Ned's Declassified, and there's one show that we are going to be talking about in particular, Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom is actually a pretty good show and still holds up, and it actually has had a lot of impact on people that I know that have watched it from just cosplaying it at conventions that my cousin actually did to opening the eyes of others to certain aesthetics that we might not have known that we liked. You know who I'm talking about. Thank you, Amber McLean. Oh, yeah, and Sam. Now, this video, as the title says, is going to be talking about a possible spin off that they can honestly have. Now, I know that this has a really loose chance of coming out, but I still want to get my idea out there. Let me know if you agree or if you have another idea about it. Now, before we get into it, we are going to give you a quick summary of what Danny Phantom was about. The show follows a kid named Denny Fenton who ends up getting into his parents' lab and getting hit with a type of device that is supposed to be connected to the ghost world because his parents are actually ghost hunters. His DNA gets rearranged and he ends up getting the powers of a ghost and having still be human. But now he has the job of being the protector of the human world because there are ghosts that do try and take over the ghost and human world. He does get help from friends like his friend Tucker, who's more of an electronics guy, and Sam Manson, who I've seen cosplayed a lot and is more of like the gothic aesthetic that we never knew that we enjoyed until we watched the show. And pretty much that's the basics of the story. He's trying to just stop and thwart ghosts from trying to take over the human world or what have you. There is a big climactic finale, but as you know, it is the ghost world, so there always can be new ghosts coming through. The basic summary, the finale, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, basically he uses all his friends and old enemies to combat a greater threat, and they all work together and they all kind of go their separate ways of them going back to the ghost world, him being hailed a hero, his parents knowing like he's a ghost, and what have you. And he ends up getting to date Sam. Now that we got the summary out of the way, well, what's the sequel or what's the spin off series that we could do? Well, we did kind of miss a character, and that is Danny Phantom. Yes, she is the same as Danny Phantom, but she is a clone that was made and has the same kind of human ghost hybrid. She was created by the main villain basically named Vlad. She has the same powers, if not I think slightly better than Danny. The only issue is that she does have a hard time deciphering right from wrong just because she was cloned by the main villain of the series and she was a lot younger than Danny Fenton. Now, this is where the series could actually take place. You could have her now be a little bit older, be in high school, the same that was Danny Fenton, and have her go on her own adventures trying to still decipher what's the right thing, the wrong thing to do, while still being kind of a protector as well of the ghost world and human world. Not having Danny as the main character and putting her in high school really does hit those demographics that the networks are probably looking for, as well as probably getting me to watch as well as many other people. You could add a lot of new characters because the ghost world is ever so expansive because, people die all the time, especially criminals can die all the time as well. So you could have a lot of new ghost villains coming into play. Now, a really interesting thing would be that Danny could also be dealing with social aspects like making friends, having new support characters as well, dealing with just social cues and deciphering what's the right go to for a conversation as well. So you could have Danny in the series. He could either be like a minor mentor support role, or he could be a part protagonist B, where you could kind of get into the aspect of how they're going to play Danny, being an adult, having to protect the ghost realm, maybe having to get maybe a regular job or just wanting to go to school or live a semi-normal life because the town does know about Danny Phantom to an extent. So it could be up in the air in that one. Plus, you can have other minor support roles, such as like the family members, the mom and the dad, or you could have Danny Fenton's sister, who would probably be a better advice giver to Danny about social aspects that she could be facing. Also, there's the way of bringing in new characters that are evil beings, because, Ghost World is expansive, as well as you could bring some older ghosts, fiends that could be allies now or could be like anti heroes still. Or if they could just bring back, Ember McLean, that would be fantastic. Another thing for Danny Phantom is he could have another arc with Sam in it, being that they could have possibly broken up between that time and the next time. Because as we do know, high school romances don't last, and it could be a really good marketing scheme to kind of get me to watch as well as others to watch of how they might get back together or how they're maybe closer than before and they're in a relationship. Either one would be pretty interesting to watch. As well as the arc for Danny as well, it doesn't just have to follow that rule. In all honesty, this could be the first season could really put in the aspects of background characters, main villains that could be later down the road, as well as just having some minor villains that she goes through. I feel like the ending of the series, if anything, it would have to be a true testament of either passing the torch or being stood as an equal next to Danny Fenton, or just kind of something that she proves to herself and others that she can kind of hang with the best of them and she can be a protector as well. This is how I would do maybe the spinoff would be Danny Phantom being the main character of this, having her be a teenager, having her have these issues, having maybe Danny Fenton be a minor support or part protagonist, him having his arc with maybe Sam and juggling some normalcy and ghosts, and Danny Phantom dealing with the social aspects and dealing with new ghosts and trying to prove herself and deciphering right from wrong. I think this spin would be a really good way to get the series back on track. I think the only thing that's come up is basically a comic book series that is coming out. I think that came out in 2022 near December, but it wasn't that great. I think it was just kind of like a near reiteration of an episode. Danny Phantom is a series that is really near and dear to my heart as well as many fans' hearts. We would be happy to see and be part of that world once again. This time, we hopefully won't get ghosted. I hope your day is as awesome as you are, and I will see you in the next video.